Well, folks, we just got back from a 20-day cruise, all the way from Italy to Dubai on board the Costa Toscana. And today, we're going to give you a complete review of our adventure.
Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, I'm Rick.
And I'm Andrea. And today we'll give you a complete review of our 20 days cruise from Italy to Dubai on board of the Costa Toscana. As usual, we will rate each aspect of the cruise from 1 to 5 anchors. And let me tell you, this was an amazing cruise.
Yeah, best cruise ever.
But first, if you like travel-related videos like this one, now is the best time to hit the subscribe button down below so you never miss any future videos.
I think that is great advice.
Thank you. So let's begin our Costa Toscana cruise review by talking about boarding. The boarding process was relatively simple and easy. We arrived at the terminal at 10:30 as per our assigned boarding time, and at 10:50 we were walking on the gangway.
Very fast.
Exactly. We were among the first passengers on board, which was fantastic. There was just a little confusion with Rick's Canadian passport that delayed the process by a few minutes, but overall boarding was simple and efficient. So my vote for boarding is a solid 5 out of 5 anchor. What's your vote, Rick?
Yeah, so, yeah, for boarding, the person checking me in, he kind of pointed me out to a colleague by using a rather derogatory term that's sometimes used among friends, not professionally. This guy was obviously untrained with a non-European passport, because, you know, like a Canadian passport is so strange. That said, it wasn't a bad process, so for me, I give the boarding a 4 out of 5 anchors. Okay, so let's continue our Costa Toscana cruise review by talking about the itinerary. The Costa Toscana itinerary was a 20 days repositioning cruise from Savona, Italy, all the way to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. The ports of call were Ajaccio in Corsica, Civitavecchia, which is Rome, Palermo, Athens, and Haifa in Israel. From there, we had 6 sea days that took us through the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden before arriving in the next port of call in Salalah, Oman. From Salalah, we then sailed to Muscat, and then to Abu Dhabi, and finally to Dubai. The first week in the Mediterranean, the weather and the temperatures, I mean, they were mild, but, you know, not really warm enough to be able to suntan by the pool. But as soon as we entered the Red Sea about a week later, the temperatures become amazing, and we were able to enjoy the 6 sea days by the pool. Best cruise ever. Overall, we think the itinerary was fantastic, even with all the sea days. The highlights for us were the excursion to Jerusalem from the port of Haifa and the crossing of the Suez Canal. In particular, we loved to be able to enjoy that 28 Celsius or 82 Fahrenheit in December. It was really amazing. Also, the ocean was always incredibly calm, so sailing was super smooth. So for me, the itinerary deserves a solid 5 out of 5. Andrea, what do you think?
I also love this itinerary. The temperature was amazing for 2 solid weeks, and I found some of the ports incredibly interesting. So I do give the itinerary a solid 5 out of 5. No question there. Let's move to our next topic on our Cruise Toscana cruise review, and we talk about the ship. The Costa Toscana is Costa Cruise's new flagship. It was built by Meyer Turku in Finland and launched in 2021. It is 337 meters long and 82 meters wide. It has a maximum capacity of 6,654 passengers and 1,678 cruise members. The ship is beautiful. The first thing we notice is the fact that the ship feels very wide and spacious. There's a lot of natural lights in every area of the ship. The decor inside is very modern and classy. It's quite different from the usual Costa decor.
That we saw on previous cruise ships.
Absolutely. It has plenty of outdoor space. In fact, the deck 8, there's a great wraparound outdoor area, perfect to walk and to suntan. Going around the entire deck takes approximately 10 minutes.
Yeah, or 990 steps.
He counted it. It has one indoor pool on deck 16 that is magnificent, and 3 outdoor pools on deck 17. It has water slides on deck 17 that is quite fun.
Amazing.
Another thing we noticed is the fact that the ship is incredibly silent and smooth. Most of the time when we were inside, we couldn't even feel the movement. Now, we did not experience any rough seas in the entire crossing, so we don't really know exactly how the ship performs in bad weather conditions, or bad sea conditions actually, but it felt so smooth.
Yeah.
One thing that we noticed is that the elevator door closed very quickly, and sometimes there's no time to reach the door, the elevator, before you're
already gone.
So you have to run.
Yeah, actually, that's really funny watching that.
Another minor defect that we notice is the lack of electrical plugs in the main indoor area, making it difficult to find a good place to plug a laptop and to smart working. In conclusion, I think that the ship deserves a solid 5 out of 5 anchor for me. It's gorgeous and I really loved it. What's your vote, Rick?
Yeah, I think the ship also deserves a solid 5 out of 5. I mean, this is just absolutely amazing, and I just cannot wait to get back on board. Let's move on to our next topic of our Costa Toscana Cruise review, and we're going to talk about the cabin. Now, we booked a regular balcony cabin on board the Costa Toscana like we normally do, but unfortunately, this one was more like a shoebox. It's got a very small closet, barely enough for 2 people. And the decor was okay. I mean, it had bright colors, and as usual, super clean. Costa finally got rid of that ugly brown couch that we had on previous ships, and now there's a much more modern couch. But unfortunately, due to the lack of storage space, we had to use the stupid couch as a storage area, which was not ideal. It was impossible to keep the cabin neat and organized. Well, maybe we just took too much stuff. Also, the desk is really narrow and has this gigantic phone that just takes up so much room. It's just not an ideal place to work. But there are a few electrical plugs and USB plugs in the room, making it simple to charge all of our electronics. One thing that's quite bizarre is that this cabin does not have a fridge. Balcony is huge, really nice, and even though our balcony had a little obstructed view, due to the shape of the ship, we enjoyed it. And let's talk about the bathroom. Nice and wide and a big shower. Overall, I found the cabin, unfortunately, a little bit underwhelming compared to the rest of the ship. And so for this, because of the size, my vote is going to be a 3 out of 5. Andrea, what do you think?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the cabin as well. In particular, I did not like the fact that it lacked of storage, and we had to use the couch as a storage facility. It was not very nice. There was always a strange window that looked into the bathroom. So from anywhere in the cabin, you can open the window and look in the bathroom.
That's right.
And you can see someone showering.
Or even pooping.
The balcony and the bathroom are very nice, but the cabin itself felt a little not so good. So a 3 out of 5 for me as well for the cabin. Moving on to our next topic, we talk about the service. Service on board of the Costa Toscana was absolutely spot on. We were assigned to the Bella Vista restaurant. That is the restaurant for the dedicated to passenger traveling in the suite, or as well as platinum and gold members of the Costa Club. At this restaurant, the service was incredible. In particular, our waiter, Maria, and her 2 health assistants, Christine and Lalu, were fantastic. Always super efficient, friendly, and incredibly sweet. John and Jerome cooked for us each night, all under Arturo's watchful...
A watchful eye.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. He was the head waiter. Arturo was amazing, always watching everything and ready to help. So absolutely amazing.
Well done, guys.
Well done. Also, we had amazing service around the ship. For example, at one of our favorite bars on Deck 8, the Cartel Bar, we found some incredible servers that were always friendly, efficient, and willing to talk, and we really, really enjoyed it. In particularly, Darren and Winlove and Sahil, who remember us from a previous sailing,
That's right.
were really nice to us, and very, very helpful. Also at the beach club, Armando remembered us from a previous sailing, and he always remembered our favorite drinks
Was that
from
awesome?
years ago.
We don't even drink a lot.
Incredible. Overall, all over the ship, service was fantastic, and we were really, really, really pleased.
Yeah. The only area that would require a little bit improvement in service is the housekeeping department, in particular the laundry service. And this has been an ongoing problem with us on other Costa cruises. Let me explain. Costa has a laundry service called the Magic Bag, and that includes 25 items of laundry for a flat fee of 19 euros, and you can purchase it either online or on board. Also, Gold and Platinum members get one Magic Bag free per voyage. Now, housekeeping did not know that passengers can buy the bag, and they did not know how to handle the paid bags, the ones that were already bought in advance. We had to escalate the issue with the housekeeping manager and show them the invoice for the Magic Bag that we bought online before we were able to have any laundry done. They didn't believe that we could prepay for laundry bags, and they didn't want to do it. But there is one thing we did learn. You can buy these Magic Bags on board through the QR code in your room for room service.
Yep. Also, we asked for ironing.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it was done, sometimes it wasn't. And once they charged for the ironing, even though they didn't hire. So it's kind of strange. Now, this was a quirky, quickly resolved issue by calling the reception. This area has lots of room for improvement, and some training is required.
Totally agree.
Overall, we're extremely pleased with the service on board, and I think they deserve a solid 5 out of 5 anchors, even though the laundry is a little iffy.
Yeah.
Well done, guys. And Rick, what's your vote?
Well, we really loved the service on board, especially our team over at the Bella Vista restaurant that I miss so much. To you, Maria, Arturo, John, Jerome, Christina, and Lalo, you guys, it's a 5 out of 5 for service. All right, so the next item on our Costa Toscana cruise review, we're going to be talking about the safety and cleanliness. Regarding the health protocols, we had to do a COVID test 48 hours before departure. And that was it. Masks on board were recommended for passengers, but not mandatory. 99% of passengers just did not wear them, and neither did we. We were perfectly fine. Now, for crew members, we noticed that in the food and beverage department, most of them were wearing masks. Most of the other crew members stopped wearing them after a few days from departure, and they told us that this was the only cruise since August that they had to wear masks on. The safety drill on the Costa Toscana is done on the app or on the cabin TV, and then after that, each passenger has to get their cruise card scanned at the muster station, and that's it. The ship was incredibly clean, as usual. We saw the staff cleaning decks, floors, pools, all the time. They even cleaned our balcony twice. This made us feel very safe, and I like cleanliness. So for me, cleanliness, I give it a solid 5 out of 5. Andrea, what do you think?
Well, seeing all those staff members cleaning the ship constantly made it feel incredibly safe and clean. And I do give a solid 5 out of 5 for cleanliness and safety for the ship, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now we move on to another topic of our Costa Toscana cruise review by talking about the drink package. As we mentioned in previous video, Costa has a great drink package that is quite affordable and very, very good. However, in order to have the best price on the drink package, you should buy the package at the time you make your reservation by selecting the all-inclusive option. Because once you are on board, the package is way more expensive.
It's just like, it's incredibly more expensive.
So, absolutely, buy it at the time of booking. At the time of booking, you can pick the My Drink package that covers wine by the glass, prosecco, coffee, tea, specialty coffee, digestive, and classic cocktail. Also, you can upgrade online for the Plus package that includes premium wines, premium liquor, and cocktails.
And you know, there is one thing about Costa that I always forget. If you guys are coming from America or Canada, it might be a surprise to you to know that there are no limits. You don't, for instance, on Princess, they have a 15 drink limit, and we've seen many times, it gets, the people are in a show, they're looking at their phone, they're like, hey, I'm on drink number 13, I have 2 more to go. Well, on Costa, you don't have to think about that. All you have to do is just enjoy yourself on the best cruise ever.
Yeah, it's a true unlimited package. So overall, we think it's a great value and we strongly recommend it. My vote for the drink package is a solid 5 out of 5 if purchased at the time of reservation. What is your vote, Rick?
Well, yeah, 5 out of 5. But just as a clarification, you get the all-inclusive, right? Because it includes, it just includes everything. Totally. 5 out of 5. Excellent work, Costa. Okay, so next up on our Costa Toscana Cruise review, and we're going to talk about the restaurants. Costa Toscana has 11 restaurants on board, so you could eat at one restaurant every single day, and in 20 days, you wouldn't even be able to get to all of them twice. Now, there's some specialty restaurants which are not included, but more on those later. The buffet is also located on deck 8 of the ship. Now, this location was a little bit odd because when the buffet is closed, it's not possible to walk from inside the ship on deck 8 from the front to the back. Also, when it's open, it's very busy, and again, walking through it can be very challenging. So probably the buffet location in this case was probably not the best one, but I didn't actually mind. There's also 3 main dining rooms in the back of the ship on decks 5, 6, and 7. Now, the main dining room still has the first seating at 6:30 p.m. and the second seating at 9. One thing, it was a little amusing to see a rush of people at 6:30 running to the dining room for their first seating. And on deck 7, there's the Il Vigneto restaurant that was open for lunch, and the opening hours were until 3:30 p.m. serving a set menu. Overall, those main dining rooms are very spacious and well decorated with a good amount of windows and natural light. Also, there were 2 other main dining rooms called L'Argentario on deck 6, which is dedicated to gold and platinum members that they weren't lucky enough to get the club restaurant, and Le Anfore, which was on deck 6, and on this crossing it was just closed because of low capacity. There was also screens by the elevators that gave tons of information about the restaurants, their operating hours and whether or not they were open.
And if they're busy or not.
That's right. That was a very nice touch, actually.
Yes.
Now, because we're gold members on Costa, and because we booked the cruise way in advance, we were able to get the club restaurant, Bella Vista, as we mentioned before. And I gotta tell you, this restaurant is unbelievable. Now, it is dedicated to suite passengers and a few gold and platinum members. Now, it has to be reserved at the time of booking, and the beauty of this restaurant is the fact that it's very small, it's very intimate, and amazing staff and a giant open kitchen right inside the restaurant. Everything was cooked fresh in front of our eyes, which was absolutely amazing. Dining here feels like being at a Michelin star restaurant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a real treat. Now, on some ships, it's possible to pay for an entry fee to eat at the club restaurant, like the other specialty restaurants, but on this particular sailing, the option was not available. So, after this very long review, I think it's time to vote. I give the restaurants on Costa Toscana a solid 5 out of 5. But for Bella Vista, I think we should give it a 10 out of 5. Absolutely unbelievable. Andrea, what do you think?
I think that Costa Toscana deserves a solid 5 out of 5 for restaurant. And as you said, the Bella Vista restaurant is on a planet on its own. It's absolutely like, whoa.
Yeah.
And now we continue our Costa Toscana cruise review by talking about
the food.
As we mentioned before, we love the food on Costa.
Yeah.
I personally think it's among some of the best food I've ever had. And not just on cruise ship, but in general.
Yeah.
It is always perfectly presented and delicious. The variety on the menu is wonderful. Portions are small and are meant to enjoy a 4-course meal. You always find a choice of 3 or 4 appetizers, usually 1 seafood, 1 meat, and 1 vegetarian.
That's right.
3 or 4 primi, first course, and again 1 seafood, 1 meat, and 1 vegetarian, and also usually a soup of the day.
Yeah, you remember that onion soup?
Oh wow!
Wow.
Then you have the secondi or main course, with again a choice of seafood, meat, and vegetarian. Finally, a choice of 3 or 4 desserts.
I have to say that the desserts, we're always on a diet at home, so the desserts.
On top of that, you have some items that are called grandi classici that are always available. Now, because we are fortunate enough to eat at the Bella Vista restaurant, we had 2 extra options in the grandi classici. One was filet mignon with béarnaise sauce that was available every day for lunch and dinner, and another one was grilled prawns. Also, the night before a port, we always was available a particular dish inspired by the next day destination and designed by one of the 3 Michelin star chefs that works for Costa. You might have guessed that my vote for food on board of the Costa Toscana is a solid 5 out of 5, no doubts. What's your vote, Rick?
Yeah, so obviously you all know that I love the food on the ship, and the fact that it was cooked in front of us made it all that more fantastic. But the thing that I love the most about this, there's 2 things. One is the small portions, so I can try a bunch of things without feeling, bloated. And second of all, it's just always presented perfectly, it's well seasoned, it's always on point. Absolutely love it. Okay, so, and of course, 5 out of 5. All right, so moving on to our next item to review on board the Costa Toscana, we're going to talk about the bars. Now, the Costa Toscana has, can you believe it, 19 bars and lounges. Guys, if you think that 19 bars and lounges on board a cruise is amazing, give us a like on this video. Now, for this crossing, a few of the bars were closed, but that wasn't a problem. In our opinion, for the ones that were open, they were all pretty good. But there were a few that stood out that we really, really loved. Now, on the first week of our cruise, when the weather was still a little bit cold, our favorite bar was at the Cartel Bar over on Deck 6, midship.
Deck 8.
Deck 8. How could I forget?
You were just there for 20 days.
I know. It was right by the Colosseum. Interesting feature, I would say a great feature of this bar was the fact that they offer some finger food all day long, and it was just included. So if we needed a little snack, for instance, in the morning they have pastries, at lunch they had some little salads, pasta salads, and at night they had like olives and cheeses and bread. I mean, this wasn't meant to be a dinner, it was meant to be just like a snack for aperitivo. Now, once we started sailing in the warmer weather, there was the Infinity Bar all the way aft. I should just call it the Incredible Bar. It was the Incredible Bar. So, here you had couches, hot tubs, a huge smoking section, a DJ. It was just bloody incredible.
And the views are amazing.
Just a perfect place to go before or after dinner. And another bar that we loved going to in the morning for cappuccino and coffee was the Beach Club bar at the indoor pool on Deck 16. That was where our cabin was. There were some other great bars around the ship, some with live music and sports events on the big screens, like the Heineken pub or the Campari bar on Deck 7 midship. And we walked by, these places several times, but we never really stopped there. We also have to mention the Amarillo Gelateria on Deck 8 towards the front of the ship. This place has gelato, pies, crepes, and all for a fee. And we didn't try this either because, again, the desserts were so good in the dining room. Why on earth would we get it? Overall, though, we think that the amount of bars and lounges on board the Costa Toscana is excellent. There's a spot for everyone. There's that perfect place. And we even heard that though during peak season, when the ship is at full capacity, some bars are probably difficult to walk through, like the Infinity Bar. But the rest, they're okay. For this reason, I give it a solid 5 out of 5 for the bars. Andrea, what do you think?
I also give a 5 out of 5 for the bar on Costa Toscana. I really enjoy our evening at the Infinity Bar, and we were able to meet many fellow passengers there and socialize, so it was a great spot. Now we'll continue our Costa Toscana Cruise review by talking about the entertainment. The entertainment team on board with Costa Toscana was absolutely fantastic. They really did an amazing job keeping passengers engaged and entertained, and with 6 sea days is very important. The team was always around the ship, socializing with passengers, dancing with passengers, and playing games with passengers. They organized some amazing party, such as the White Party, which is a classic on Costa, the Carnival Party, which is a costume party, and our absolutely favorite Arabian Nights Party. Actually, Rick and I think we burned a lot of calories that night.
Oh my god, that was so much fun and best cruise ever. I mean, how many times do you get me dancing outside?
I know, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Also during the day, they had a crossing of the trophy party that involves the captain and officer that are all engaged with passengers.
Passengers love these parties.
Oh, they did. The second to the last day of the cruise, there was some special events, special farewell events during the day. There was staff member talent show, and the crew member, the different department performed some dancing and singing, and passengers were like absolutely loving it.
Well, a lot of them were crying.
Yeah.
It was farewell party.
The same night, there was an incredible Christmas celebration with all the officers and many crew members caroling around the ship for almost an hour.
Wow.
Well, that was absolutely amazing. It was very, very nice to see officers around the ship all the time interacting with passengers, like it was before the pandemic. In particular, there was an amazing to see officer ball.
Oh, yeah.
That I've never seen before. It was great to see officers dancing with passengers that night, and there was like something that...
Everybody loved it.
Everybody loved it. One thing that we noticed several times on Costa is the fact that they have those great theme nights, such as the White Night, Costume Night, Arabian Nights.
Did the Red and Black Night.
Red and Black Night. But there is no way to know before boarding what to bring on board.
I know.
So what particular outfit to pack? That would be nice to have a little email telling like, okay, bring something Arabic to your cruise.
Yes, that's right.
Other than that, I think the entertainment team on board was absolutely incredible, and they totally deserve a 5 out of 5, no doubt. Absolutely amazing. What's it, Wolfric?
Yeah, well, they got me dancing, so 5 out of 5. Loved those parties, especially the Arabian Nights. All right, so our next topic to review on board the Costa Toscana are the shows. The Costa Toscana has 2 theaters on board. One is in the midship on decks 6, 7, and 8 called the Colosseum, and the other one is all the way at the front called the Poltroni Frau on decks 6 and 7. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say that the theaters are not very well designed at all, and I think they may have done this on purpose. Both theaters have columns in front of them so that you couldn't see, in a lot of places, you couldn't see the what was going on. Also, in both areas, there are very few tables, so it was, at least at the Poltroni Frau, it was very difficult to have a drink and watch the show at the same time. But let's talk about the overall shows. I think they were average. I mean, look, the typical singing and dancing and acrobats, nothing special here. Now, there was one really good singer. Her name was Talia Alexis. Hi, Talia, if you're watching. She had an incredible voice and did a stunning tribute to Tina Turner. Actually, there was also that dancing couple. They were a couple, I think, from Romania, and I think they were also really good. So for me, I give the shows a 4 out of 5, but the theaters, not so much. Andrea, what do you think?
I was not crazy about the shows. Most of them were kind of like repetitive, especially the acrobats. So I give them a 3 out of 5. Yeah, that's about it. As you said, the venue were not well designed at all, and most of the seats are like obstructive view, which is kind of like weird. Now let's move to our next topic on our Costa Toscana Cruise review, and we talk about the Costa Club. The Costa Club is Costa's loyalty program. It has some very good perks, and we strongly recommend you to sign up if you're thinking about taking a Costa cruise.
Yeah,
Sign up in advance.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about the perks for the members of the Costa Club, take a look at this video up here. We cover the Costa Club in depth. On our cruise on board of the Costa Toscana, the Costa Club organized 2 nice events. One for all the members, and another one dedicated to the Gold and Platinum member. Both events were really nice. In particular, the second one was great because we were also be able to interact with the captain and many of the other officers on board. Also, because we are Gold, we received a nice gift at the end of the cruise, a metal model of the ship that we love so much to collect and keep on our bookcase.
Yes, absolutely.
The only part of the Costa Club benefit that has room for improvement is the free laundry bag, as we mentioned before. This requires some training with the staff because there's some issue there. Other than the minor issue with the laundry, I think that the Costa Club deserves a solid 5 out of 5 anchors. What's your vote, Rick?
Yeah, for me, I like the Costa Club. I think, I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's pretty good. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I'm going to go with my gut on this. You know what it is? I'm just not entirely impressed about how we get into the club restaurant. It almost feels like it's a lottery. It's, depends on, there's just no, All right, so let's move on to one of my most favorite areas of the ship, the spa. Now, if you follow our channel, you'll know that the spa on any cruise ship is my natural habitat. Well, I mean, being on a cruise ship is my natural habitat. But on board the Costa Toscana, I have to say the spa is absolutely gorgeous. First of all, it's huge. It's really big. It has a great wellness center that includes a nice and gigantic hot tub, a relaxing area, a salt room with comfy chairs, a hammam room, and a dry sauna. And by the way, if it's too hot outside, there's even a snow room that you can cool down in with real snow. Can you believe it? Passengers can book an unlimited entry package for the spa, which I think is perfect, and we did, and we used it a lot. There's also packages available that include massages and other treatments. Service at the spa was fantastic. In particular, Michelle, hi Michelle, she is the amazing spa manager who also remembered us from previous voyages. As for the massage part, what can I say? On this trip, I'm kind of embarrassed. I didn't have 1, I didn't have 2, I didn't have 3 massages. I had 6. Basically, look, this is what I did. I scheduled them around 4 p.m. on sea days. So after I finished my 20,000 steps, I'd go for a massage, and then I'd visit this guy in the thermal suite around 5 o'clock. Then I might have a little nap, dip in the jacuzzi, go to the hammam, nap again, all before going back to the room, getting changed, and ready for the evening. Now, after this long review, my vote for the spa is a solid 5 out of 5.
Surprised.
Imagine. Go, what's your vote?
Oh, my vote is again a 5 out of 5. The spa was fantastic. And hi, Michelle, you are amazing.
Yes.
So let's move on to our next topic of our Costa Toscana Cruise review, and we talk about the excursions. For the most part, we took excursion with Costa on this voyage, and we would notice that the excursion team was much better organized than it has been in previous sailing on other ships. Yeah, we had not so good experience on previous sailing. Unfortunately, one thing that Costa doesn't do well is the description of the excursion online. Most of the time, the description on the website is a bit approximate, and it is tough to know what exactly is included on the excursion and what is not, and what the excursion means. On previous sailing, most of the staff at the excursion desk did not know either what was included in the excursion.
But that wasn't the case on this one.
No. On the Costa Toscana, on the other end, everyone had a good understanding of what the excursion was at the desk. And they were very knowledgeable and very eager to help and explain us exactly what we needed. Overall, the excursion we took with Costa were good, organized, and pretty interesting. In particular, the one we took in Abu Dhabi was fantastic.
Yes, that was probably the best, for me, the best excursion.
Yeah, they beat us by 4x4 and the pier and drove out to the desert. And then, after they deflated the tires, we started sliding down the dunes in the desert. It was quite scary at the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think I scared, actually. I got scared.
But after that, it was amazing.
Yeah.
After riding the dunes for a solid hour, they took us to a Bedouin camp where we had a nice dinner, we rode some camels, and so belly dancing show. Actually, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
The excursion were really, really fun. One thing that we really liked about Costa Excursion is the fact that they can be pre-booked online and no payment is required at the time of booking. The payment is due on board. For this reason, we love to book excursion right after we book the cruise, so that way we do not risk of having them sold out. For example, there were a few nice couples who were newlywed and we met on board. They really want to take the same excursion in Abu Dhabi as we took, but unfortunately for them, it was sold out because they did not book it in advance.
It was sold out even before we were on the ship, yeah.
So after this long review, it's time to vote, and I give the excursion a solid 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and I think they did a good job. What's the vote, Rick?
Yeah, so for the excursions, I think that, the Costa Toscana did a far better job than what we're used to seeing on other cruise ships, on other Costa cruise ships. The one thing that gets me every single time is that we always have to book the excursions in Italian. Now, my Italian isn't so bad now. I can't use the excuse that I don't understand because, I understand most everything. But here's the challenge. If you are on board the Costa ship and you speak a language other than Italian, it's natural that you're going to want to book an excursion in another language, and they offer this service. The problem is that if there are not enough people in that particular language to be on that excursion, the excursion gets canceled. So they don't move you to another one or give you the opportunity to move to another, another language. They just cancel it. And so I would prefer to be able to book everything in English, and then if they just didn't have enough, then they just put me in a French or in an Italian excursion. But that's just not a thing on Costa. It's a room for improvement. It's an opportunity for improvement. But we're talking about the excursions on board the Costa Toscana that we experienced, and for that, my vote is a solid 5 out of 5 on the best cruise ever. Okay, and now we're going to move on to our next topic on our Costa Toscana Cruise review, and that's the casino. We didn't win $1 million.
No.
Or a free cruise.
No.
But the casino is located on deck 7 midship. It's nice and spacious with a good amount of tables and slot machines. The casino is nice and bright and overall very adequate for the ship. Now, being a European cruise line, some games that are popular in North America are not available in this casino. For instance, there's no craps tables. We only used the casino a few times, and as I said, didn't win anything interesting, but we can still vote on the ambience, and the people. The people were very nice too. Yes. So my vote is a solid 5 out of 5. Andrew, what do you think?
I also give the casino a 5 out of 5. The ambience is very nice, and I really like the fact that there is no smoking area in the casino, like they have on other cruise lines. So moving on to the next topic on our Costa Toscana Cruise review, we'll talk about the specialty restaurant.
Oh yeah, the specialty restaurants.
Absolutely. There are several specialty restaurants on board of the Costa Toscana. The fanciest one is the Archipelago restaurant that is located on deck 8 at the front. The Archipelago features 3 sets menu from 3 famous chefs. We talked a lot about the restaurant in our previous Costa review, and you can watch the video up here if you want to know more about it.
Right.
Also on deck 8, toward the front of the ship, you'll find the Teppanyaki restaurant. The Teppanyaki is quite big and has a nice layout. We've eaten teppanyaki on restaurant on previous cruise, but not on this one.
Yeah, and it was always a lot of fun.
It was lots of fun.
But it was really hard to pull us away from the Bella Vista.
Restaurant.
No, the Bella Vista.
The Bella Vista restaurant, what I was talking about. Next to the teppanyaki, there's the pizza restaurant. We did a pizza once, and it was actually excellent. A really, really good Italian pizza.
Yep.
Almost as good as Naples. Notice that I mentioned that it's an Italian pizza, because if you want a North American-style pizza, you're out of luck here.
Yeah, I actually did try to order a Hawaiian pizza, and they were like, yeah, right.
On deck 7, towards the back of the ship, you can find the Heineken pub that has a kitchen and serves pub food, fresh meat burger, and a steakhouse. The area is nice, and they often have live music here. We did not eat here either, because we really liked our Bella Vista restaurant.
So we'll only review the ambiance, right?
Yeah. Also on deck 7, midship, you find the Sushino restaurant. As we noticed on previous Costa Cruises review, this place was never busy at all.
Maybe just on the first day, but...
Yeah. We saw some people doing takeout here, but that's about it.
Yeah, very underused.
On deck 16, by the Beach Club, you can find a street food hamburger place that serves gourmet burger and other kind of sandwiches. On deck 17, toward the back of the ship, you'll find the poke stand that serves poke, again for a small fee at the lunchtime. And lastly, on deck 8, near the Archipelago, you can find the Ferrari bar that has a tasting menu for a nominal fee.
On our sailing, it was 20 euros.
Yep. Due to the fact that we were able to eat at a club restaurant, we did not feel like eating anywhere else. So we didn't have any kind of much to review about those specialty restaurants other than the ambience. So my vote for the ambience is a 5 out of 5, but I don't really know the food, so I don't vote for it.
One thing that we have to mention is the first and maybe even the second night of the cruise, the specialty restaurants are 20% off. Now, you might be wondering why it is that we didn't try the specialty restaurants, and we said, you know, that the Bella Vista restaurant was just so good. Maybe that's why they don't want too many people going to the Bella Vista restaurant, because
They're spoiled.
you get spoiled and you don't spend any money anywhere else.
Probably.
All right, so let's talk. Let's move on to our next topic on board the Costa Toscana Cruise review, and we're going to talk about the stores. On the Costa Toscana, the stores are scattered around decks 7 and 8. And there isn't a Galleria-style area like we've seen on previous Costa ships, and that's actually okay for me. On board, you'll find, you know, the usual types of stores, you know, clothing, jewelry, sunglasses, bikinis, perfume, Costa merchandise, and so on. And as we mentioned on other Costa reviews, the onboard selection of toiletry and travel items like the essentials is really limited. So don't forget to pack all of that stuff before boarding. And on this particular sailing, considering that there was 6 sea days, remember that it could be a problem to run out of sunscreen. Or shaving cream. Wasn't a problem for us because we packed extra. One thing we noticed is that the perfumes were actually among the best priced stuff on board, and we didn't believe it. There was also cigarettes and tobacco products that went on sale, and that's very different.
Strange.
Strange for us, right? So my vote for stores on board the Costa Toscana, I don't do a lot of shopping anyway. It's 3 out of 5. What do you think?
I would think the ship should have a much bigger selection of toiletry items and last-minute necessity, especially considering the 6 sea days.
Yeah.
If you run out of shaving cream, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So my vote for this is a 3 out of 5. Moving on to next items on the Costa Toscana Cruise review, we'll talk about the Costa App. The Costa App is the mobile app that you use on board to check the daily events, excursion, menus, restaurants, connect to the internet, and so on.
In theory.
Overall, the app is fine. It has some good features and works okay. Some features require improvement. For example, it sends notification for shows and excursion time, but not if you send a message to another
person. Using the chat feature.
So we just use Messenger on our cell phones.
Yeah.
And spa treatment, if you are booked online, they show up in your event. But if you book them directly to the spa, they don't show in the app.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah, so if you pre-booked them before, they show up. If you booked them there, they don't.
Another thing that was quite bizarre is the fact that many of the events that are on the paper daily schedule, they're not on the app.
Many, almost all of them.
Also, around the 10th day of the cruise, the app stopped showing the venue of the events. So it showed the event at a specific time, but not the place, which was really peculiar.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want you to know where the event was. I mean, we saw that during COVID time when we were sailing, like last year, right?
Oh, strange. Other than those few bugs, the app is fine and it does an okay job. I voted 3 out of 5, and there's room for improvement, but it works better than other one that we tried on different cruise lines. Not mentioning the name.
Medallion.
What's your vote, Rick?
Yeah, I use the app, but not all that much. You know, it was more to check my expenses. So I give it a 3 out of 5. Moving on to our next topic, we're going to talk about the internet on board. Now, the internet itself was decent. It wasn't the fastest, but actually it was fast enough to work with. And it was actually a lot faster than what we had earlier this year on board another cruise line. It was stable enough for most uses, and even YouTube worked pretty well. We were able to use it to call home on FaceTime and WhatsApp and video chat and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, though, there was a little mishap with regards to the price of the internet. Let me explain. On boarding day, while waiting for lunch, I opened the Costa app and ordered the internet package like I do all the time. And the cost was €100 for what they called a full package, and this was unlimited use. A little later, I checked my onboard expenses, mainly to see, the excursions, and I found a big surprise. I found that we were each charged €260 for internet, not €100 that was offered. That's an overcharge of €320 or €160 per person just on day one. Now, we went to reception, and there was a lineup of others reporting the same problem. The receptionist took my information and advised that the matter would be looked into. And a few days later, someone called me and told me that it was a mistake and that I should have known better. And if I wanted a refund, I could have a refund only if I didn't use the internet. Well, of course I used it. We thought this was not the correct way to handle the issue, but we needed the internet, to talk with you guys. So we had no choice but to accept the charge. We think the internet was incredibly expensive because €520 for internet for 2 people is by far the most expensive internet we have ever had, and more than what we know that the competitor lines charge. Now, it's time to vote, and because of the way that how the issue was handled and the fact that the internet was way overpriced, I'm sorry to say, my vote is a 2 out of 5. Andrea, what do you think?
I also give the internet 2 out of 5, considering that other cruise line have it included in the package. And it seems like way too expensive, €260, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 520 for 2 people? All right, so we have an update. As it turns out, I contacted the corporate office and I let them know about the situation about us being overcharged for the internet and the situation on board. And I have to say they were very gracious. They admitted the fault. They said this should not have happened. It was their mistake. And I had asked for a credit on a future sailing. They said that was a fair request. And so they each gave us €160 credit. So for that, I would say my vote, they get one extra anchor.
Yes, and they were very apologetic about it, so it was very nice of them. Thank you, Costa.
Thank you.
Now let's move to another aspect of our Costa Toscana Cruise review with the photo lab. The ship has a lot of photographers around all the times, and they're all pushy in trying to get people to take photos. We take several photos, but we only bought one because most of the photos we took were the same cruise ship photo that we have taken thousands of times with the same stage unnatural poses that are like so boring.
Yeah.
The photo lab has a lot of computers for people to look at their photos, and apparently they have facial recognition software that that is able to sort passenger photos based on their face photos. Unfortunately, we know that most of the photos were still printed and nobody was using the computers.
Yeah.
Also, the facial recognition software was not the most accurate. Some photos were recognized, some were not.
Yeah, actually, we had other people's photos show up in ours.
Yeah.
Maybe they looked like us.
Maybe.
I also noticed that only about 1 out of the 5 photos were found by the app. Maybe that's why the photos were being printed. Another thing to keep in mind is that Costa's a little tricky when it comes to the photo packages. On this cruise, for instance, you could buy the photo package for €100. Good deal, right? But they're sneaky. There are 2 kinds of photos on board. The regular ones that could be bought with the unlimited package, and the My Shades photos that are not included. And for all those photographers taking photos around the ship, well, pretty much every single one of them considered themselves My Shades. So if you're thinking about buying the photo package, I say buyer beware. Be sure to know exactly which photos are included before spending your money, because you're not going to get a refund, right? Now, mostly for these kind of tactics, my vote for the photo lab is a 1 out of 5. Andrea, what do you think?
My vote for the photo lab is a 2 because I can't stand those unnatural stage cruise photos that looks all the same. So 2 out of 5. Let's move to the next topic to our review, and is the overall feelings. The overall feelings on board of the Costa Toscana was fantastic. All the crew members seemed to be really genuinely happy and very friendly.
Yeah.
It was great to see officers around the ship all the time interacting with passengers and being social. In particular, the captain was always around, talking to passengers, interacting with them, giving information about the cruise.
Yeah.
He was always available to take photos and selfies with passengers, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
The captain was also very funny, and he made fun of his German every time he had to give a speech.
Poor guy.
Also, the passengers on board were very happy and they were having fun. It was a great mix of passengers of all ages and nationality, and everyone was really, really friendly and willing to talk to and socialize, so we had a great time.
Yeah.
Every passenger was on board to have fun and not to complain. In my opinion, this was the first cruise that had felt 100% back to normal since the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, aside from the odd mask wearing, you know. And by the way, did I mention this was the best cruise ever? So, in case you're wondering, my vote is a 5 out of 5. Andrea, what do you think?
I totally agree with Rick. It was fantastic to have the feeling of normality on board, the same feeling we had in pre-pandemic, and both the crew and the passenger were having a wonderful time and totally showed.
Yeah.
So my vote for this category is a solid 5 out of 5. Now it's time to review one of the saddest part of the cruise, the disembarkation.
Yeah.
The disembarkation process was incredibly easy and smooth. As usual, we arrived at Dubai at 8 a.m. in the morning, and by 9:30 we are on the taxi going to the hotel. We did not check our bag, but we used the carry-on, so we made the disembarkation process even simpler.
Yeah.
But from what we could see around the ship, the process seemed to be very well organized and smooth, and everybody seemed to be going off the ship very quickly. My vote for disembarkation this way is 5 out of 5. Very simple. What's your vote, Rick?
Yeah, we always carry our bags on board. We do our laundry on board, so we don't have to take up so much stuff. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for disembarkation. Everything was nice and easy. All right, so let's move on to our last item to review on our Costa Toscana cruise review, and I'm going to call it the Costa quirkiness. As we've seen on other Costa cruises, there were some odd things that were worth mentioning, but, nothing super important, but, very entertaining at that. The first strange thing was the fact that all the time changes on board the sailing happened at 11 a.m. This is the first time we ever experienced that. You can actually see the clocks at 11 a.m. go forward 1 hour all on their own. And usually when there's a time change on board, it happens overnight so that the passengers wake up in the morning with the new time, not on board the Costa Toscana. On the Toscana, you get up, go for breakfast, and then 30 minutes later, you go for lunch.
This is really weird.
Very strange. Another thing that was really bizarre on this sailing was the fact that the ship had almost no Christmas decorations, but we were sailing at Christmas time. There were a few small Christmas trees that were they were just kind of almost unnoticeable. They were just sort of part of the decor. Now, we asked the hotel director why there was no decorations, and he told us it was a corporate decision. And we confirmed it. Other ships in the Costa fleet had very little decorations for Christmas. Very strange. Now, we thought maybe it was because we're going to a Muslim area, but Dubai had more Christmas decorations than
Rome
anywhere. So Costa, you guys missed the boat on this one. Very sad.
After this very long review, it's time to draw some conclusion. I think this was an epic cruise. Everything on board was really fantastic. Yes, with some little issue with the internet or some other minor problems, but overall was fantastic. I can't wait to be on board with Costa Toscana again. For this reason, my vote is a solid 5 out of 5 for this.
For the whole cruise.
For the whole cruise. Absolutely amazing. Well done, Costa. Keep up on the good work. What's your vote, Rick?
Yeah, when can we go back? I mean, I think they're doing the same one in March and then November. I mentioned this a million times during the cruise. This was definitely the best cruise ever, so no need for me to vote. Folks, we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to our channel because it means a lot to us. In the meantime, we will see you in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.